preposterous, farcical, absurd. That's probably the response most people have when they read the title to this video. Retire in 3 years? Sure, maybe if the person was 99% there, but there's no way an average person could retire in just 3 years using real estate, is there? Well, that's the question I was asked on last week's BiggerPockets webinar, talking about real estate investing, and I took on the challenge, and here's the gist of how I answered. And by the way, did you know that every week we have a free online webinar to teach various aspects of real estate? We've talked about how to invest in real estate while working a full-time job, how to invest using no or low money down, how to buy fixer-upper rental properties, and so much more. And you can sign up for the next one at biggerpockets.com/webinar. All right, so with that, let's get on with the discussion because you've got 3 years until retirement and time is ticking. Here we go. First of all, let's make a few assumptions because I don't really know anything about you. So I'm going to assume that you don't need 6 figures to retire. Now, I'm not talking about buying a yacht and drinking Cristal and swimming in cash like Uncle Scrooge, right? I'm talking about just retirement, being able to pay your bills with passive income. So for today's assumption, let's use like 54 grand a year or 4,500 bucks a month. Now, you might need more than that and that's okay. Keep listening. You can adjust these numbers later on your own. So we have this concrete goal of making 4,500 in cash flow every month from real estate within 3 years. I'm a strong believer in taking these lofty goals and putting them into something more tangible, like 4,500 a month in cash flow. I like that. So now that's something we can go after specifically. And now that we have that clarity defined, 4,500 a month within 3 years, let's break it down even further. I mean, what does that even mean? Well, for me, I like to look at that number and ask the question, how many rental units, like houses or apartments, do I need in order to hit that number? Of course, that's going to depend a lot on the deal. A lot of people buy real estate and lose money every month, and we don't want that. We want to buy real estate that is cash flow positive. That means after the income has been received, all the income and all of the expenses have been paid, and I mean all of them, like vacancy, repairs, capex, management, utilities, the mortgage, and everything else, we should have a positive number. Now, how positive? Well, for me, I like to see between $100 and $200 a month per unit. That's just a target that I aim for, and I've been able to get most of my career. So let's just pick a number smack dab in the middle of that, 150 bucks a month. So now to all the math geniuses out there, let me ask you a question. If you needed $4,500 per month in cash flow, and each unit gives you $150 per month in cash flow, how many units do you need? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Right, 30 units. So now we've got this big crazy goal of retiring in 3 years. We've condensed it down to just needing 30 units that make 150 bucks a month in cash flow. So now we're getting somewhere, but we're not quite done yet. Now we need to make a plan to get those 30 units. So how do you buy 30 units over the next 3 years? Well, of course, you could shop around and find a 30-unit apartment complex and bam, you're done. But that would make for a slightly boring video. So let's get a little bit more creative. You could also buy 30 single-family houses, but that's a lot of work in 3 years. So let's work on a plan that meets somewhere in the middle, small multifamily properties, like duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes. Additionally, I want to break up our goal of 30 units into 3 mini goals, one for each year. We could say that we wanted 10 units per year for 3 years, but I don't think this is realistic. I mean, people tend to start a little slower and they speed up over time. So I want our goals to reflect that reality. So rather than 10 units per year for the first 3 years, let's just set a goal of 5 the first year, 10 the second year, and 15 the third year. So now we've taken that big lofty goal of retiring in 3 years, and to be on track to hit that, we've got to buy just 5 units this year. And I think you can manage that. I don't see why not. But plans are useless without action. So let's get to the final step of this is to take action. Take the action required to meet your goal this year. So what does it take to buy 5 units over the next 12 months? Well, it's going to take some action. For example, maybe you'll connect with a local real estate agent and you'll start looking now for small multifamily properties. And maybe in a few months you'll find a duplex that will cash flow the numbers you need. And then a few months after that, you'll buy a triplex and boom, you hit your 1-year goal. Of course, as we talked about earlier, not just any deal is going to work. You're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. In other words, you will likely need to analyze dozens or even hundreds of deals before buying the right one that fits with your plan. To help with that, of course, I'd encourage you to check out the BiggerPockets property analysis software, which you can find at biggerpockets.com/analysis. You can analyze an entire property in under 5 minutes and estimate important metrics like cash flow and cash-on-cash return and lots of other goodies. Now, for those wondering how am I going to pay for all this, I want to encourage you with this. If you wanted it bad enough, you'll make it happen. I bought my first 30 units using almost entirely other people's money. So maybe you'll partner up with someone like I have, or maybe you'll house hack like I have, or maybe you'll use a HELOC like I have, or seller financing, or a lease option, or one of the many other creative strategies. Of course, if you want to know more about that, be sure to check out my first full-length book, The Book on Investing in Real Estate with No and Low Money Down. Now the point is, real estate investing is possible no matter how rich or poor you think you are. You can achieve your financial goals no matter how lofty they might seem. But it's not going to happen by itself. As personal development author Jim Rohn says, life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change. So get out there and break down your big goals and take the action steps needed to accomplish it. For biggerpockets.com, my name is Brandon, signing off.